I just made this video and realized I still had it turned on time lapse about halfway through. I'm like, oh, great. Okay. This is actually like take 4 if you count yesterday. Hi, how you doing? I'm in Clark County, Washington. Up here in Salmon Creek area. That is Washington State University's parking lot, I think, way in the distance down the power lines. And there's a nice old farmhouse that for the farm that used to be here long ago. I mean, not even recently. This is just power lines now, but in a field. But fortunately for Clark County, we're gonna cut down all these stupid trees right here. All these, big, beautiful cedar trees that are barely surviving anyway. Yeah, we're gonna cut those down along with those evergreens, and we're gonna put a road in through here from 50th so that we can put a subdivision in here. There's actually a subdivision on the other side of those trees right there, going all down along Salmon Creek. But hey, and there's part of what WSU right there, the brick through the gap. Unless that's the hospital. I think that's the hospital. Anyway, that's another story, the Emmanuel Big Cube Hospital with the 666 in front of it. But I digress. Nice old farmhouse here because there used to be a farm here. Because this county used to be well populated with farmhouses that had farms on them, and the families that lived there and owned the land and whatnot would raise cattle and goats and chicken and grow crops, and then they'd sell food. You see, every year, and you could go one little trip across Clark County and back to your house and get all the things you would need for food that were, fresh and GMO free and really healthy, and have a nice day of it because the sky was blue, dark, deep blue. If there were clouds, they're puffy as long as it's in the summertime. It didn't rain continuously, only a third of the year. The other 2/3 was half cloudy, and the other third was, bam, the most gorgeous summer you've ever seen. Highs in around 90 and lows at night around 68. So anyway, I digress. We're going to get rid of these trees here, cut all those stupid trees down, and see this farmland here? This is perfect for building houses on. So we're going to build some houses, not out of the lumber from these trees. And of course, we don't have the money to do this, so we're going to have to do it all on credit to make sure that it happens. But yeah, we're going to cut down all those trees, put the road right through here, and then we can put the subdivision here where this dumb old farmhouse was. Because, you know, our food nowadays comes on a supply chain. You see, a very solid in place supply chain that involves semi trucks that run diesel fuel and big ships that come from other countries. And we know that everything is so stable and secure now that our food supply could never be threatened. Why, who needs farms and people that live on them and farm things and raise livestock when you can just buy it at the store? Duh, that's a no brainer, right? I'm being sarcastic, of course. That's the mentality of our country. It's ridiculously, it's greed, it's bullshit and sadness. Oh, yeah, I'll pretend COVID's real. I'll pretend it's real as long as you pay me. Let's carry this on for a couple years. So we got lots of newsreels showing the big pandemic that killed all these people. So that, for future generations, when they look back in history, well, we've got all the evidence that shows that what we said happened, the pandemic, it really happened. It really happened because look, all you have to do is go on to Fox News or CNN or, well, I guess they're gone now. Any of the old news sources, then just go on Google and say what happened during the pandemic of 2019, 20, 2020, 21, 22, whatever the fuck it is. What happened during the pandemic? And all the info in the world's going to be right there for our grandchildren and our great grandchildren to see what happened to us around these times, you see. And they'll know it's all true because all the proof is right there. But I digress. The mentality of this country. Yeah, my doctors can do no wrong. Pill me up, doc. Pill me up. And money, 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 money. That's where I was. I was working on the car last week, and right in the corner here, I came back from the shop over there, and there was 4 people standing here, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm back here on the property, right? And it was a couple of county guys, surveyors or whatever, and it looked like I guess, a developer and a realtor lady, and they were all standing there, and I didn't eavesdrop on their conversation. I just caught, a couple little bits of it as I was walking up here, and I kept on what I was doing, and they just acted like I wasn't even here. They didn't. As I walked up around the car over here, they were standing there chatting, but none of them like turned or acknowledged me. So I just kept on working. Anyway, they were pointing over here, and that's what I heard, the word subdivision. They only heard a couple words they said, but and then they're like kind of giggling and ho 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 chuckling, and all I could hear was money, 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 money. They're all four of them standing over here, like three men and a lady, and oh yeah, in the subdivision, brr, brr, brr. Money, 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 money. And it was a county, a realtor, and I don't know, probably a developer, and it's sickening to see people they're so focused on my careers, because I'm sure they're all got great jobs. You work for the county as a surveyor and you're out there, and if you're a successful realtor, then you're making big bucks. And if you're a developer, when you got big bucks to go and invest in developing things like that in order to sell McMansions to the immigrants. Because what real American person can afford to buy a house? They can't even afford to rent one. People are living like five people to one apartment because in a one bedroom, because rent is stupid high. And it's just a contrived situation, contrived by appraisers and banks and lenders, and it's a big, complex spider web of the means by which this state is put upon the people. Did I say that correctly? But it's there. I mean, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You see the sickness, the sadness, the poverty, the disease, the whatever that we're all facing is being created and pushed upon us, and we're being fed this bullshit story about how it's natural and it's our own fault as a result of things that we're doing. And yet no real people are making these decisions. you know there's there's ridiculous amounts of obvious things that are pointing to this being a state of mankind being pushed upon us. So the pandemic is a great example, but it's part of this mindset of accepting it. People are just accepting whatever. This should be a farm. There should be farm, 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 farm. This is all farm area, but here in soon it's going to be nothing but neighborhoods and subdivisions, because who needs to grow crops and raise livestock when you can go to the store and buy food, because it's on a that came here on diesel trucks, because nothing could ever interrupt the supply of diesel fuel that keeps the food coming to the stores. That'd be silly. And then the truck or the ships that bring our food from other countries that actually comes here, well, that could never be interrupted, because those are big ships and big corporations are running it, and so they don't care what happens in the world with economics and politics and blah 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 blah. Right? Who thought it was a good idea to cut down all of our trees and then build houses on all of the farmland so that every man, woman, and child is completely dependent upon a food supply chain that is dependent on diesel fuel and open, hassle-free, transactions of goods and warehouses and whatnot into the cities. I mean, I don't know who to blame really. Is it the system that's benefiting off of it and controlling everyone in this manner that came up with the idea, or is it just people who wanted things to be easy? So over time, over the last 150, 200 years, whatever, the modern trend has been to leave the countryside. Don't give a shit about farms or forests, anything. It's all about money. Let's go into the city and get jobs at firms where we can go and cut down all these stupid trees and build houses, and then we'll sell them to the people that used to have farms out there, after we've taken over their farmland and gotten rid of those stupid farms, because who needs stupid farms? Nobody wants dumb farmers around. So we're, whatever. And the dynamic keeps changing as time goes by. I mean, you know, it's immigrants now. It's going to be, you know, the immigrants coming here, out of the groups of them, I see the most of I honestly, I can't tell a lot of times whether they're Russian or Ukraine or Armenian even. I don't know for sure because I'm not that savvy on, you know, having met a lot of different ethnicities of people. Um, I could pretty much tell Mexicans and stuff. You know, there's Mexican and half Mexican, really. It seems like, and but the Mexicans that come here, they work their ass. Even if they're getting social service, sure, they all try and get social service, but they also work their ass off on top of getting social services because that's the only way you can survive in America. And I ain't got no issues with that. And all this talk about southern border is just more blowing bullshit while they finger fuck us in the ass. Uh, it's what I don't understand is the Russians, the big red threat for so long, right? The Cold War and all this shit, and you know, Rocky fighting Dolph Lundgren. Give me a fucking break. Anyway, they come here and they don't seem like they're poor. They're not down. You know, there are plenty of I'll just say Russians. I don't know that they're all Russians, but they seem to dress and speak languages that I associate with Russians. So there we go. Okay, the Russians come here. There are some down at the social services office, and you know, it's not as if they're not there. But when I, my mom lives next to a church that was bought by immigrants, and I think they were, you know, I don't want to say, I'm not exactly sure, but they're from that Slavic region area, and all seem very nice people that I've met, you know, and they all got bucks too. They're all driving brand new nice cars. They're well dressed, and they come to church all dressed up. And I'm not assuming that they're all got nice clothes and they drive these nice new Mercedeses and Audis and, you know, pimped out rides. And they're going back to their hovel shack where they live, you know, with 12 people in a one-bedroom apartment because it's the only way they can survive. That's not what's going on. We're going to cut down these stupid trees here, and we're going to build houses where this worthless farmland just sits because everybody buys their food at the store now. And since, you know, that's the way to make money, we're going to make a lot of money, like the realtor and the investor and the county guys are standing right there looking out over this field, and they didn't see a beautiful field with trees in the distance where, hey, there's a farmhouse. There could be a farm here with it's producing enough tomatoes to supply the entire region with tomatoes, at least the whole city every year. They saw dollar signs, dollar signs, dollar signs in the subdivision that can now be built under the power lines, apparently. So I've seen that in other parts of town where it used to be you couldn't build below power lines because it would cause, you know, birth defects and brain cancer and stuff because of the emissions of the 60 hertz or whatever coming off of the lines. But not emissions, but the waves, the perturbations of the ether. Thank you, Ken. Anyway, theoria apophysis. You know, it used to be you couldn't build houses under there, but now they've decided, well, it's perfectly safe. I mean, with 5G going in everywhere down the street, really what comes off the power lines is ridiculously small, so who cares anymore? Brain cancer, everybody has brain cancer. That's right. Makes sense now. Our smart doctors figured it out. Everyone has cancer. They're born with it. It's perfectly normal, and we should just accept that as their answer. Even though cancer is not a living thing, it's a protein chain that starts an uncontrolled replication, is something along those lines, is what I've heard most recently. Which cancer is just a blanket word for the one source of all disease. But that's another topic. All right, so there's my video. I went from the car to the sky to the trees and the realtor and the county people to the plight of mankind and the pandemic and the banking system. There's money, 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 money. And the sarcastic, of course, let's get rid of these stupid trees here because we could build houses on this useless farmland that's just sitting here doing nothing. See, it's doing nothing. It's not making any money, then it's not doing anything. Because we could go to Winco or Chuck's Produce and get our food. That makes a lot of sense because, you know, the world is so stable and in place, and we don't have to worry about supply chains in any way, shape, or form, especially with our food supply. I mean, who'd concern themselves about that, right? Hi. Wow, I don't know what just happened, but hopefully it was good. And I'm going to go back to work on this car over here as soon as I find my way back through the barbed wire and the blackberries. It's what I'm willing to go through, though, to bring, honest, open opinion and the what's that? What's Paul Harvey say? Oh, that's the rest of the story.